You ready for a roll call?
Yes.
Yes, roll call.
Chair James?
Here.
Vice Chair Thompson?
Here.
Board Member Brinkley? Board Member Brinkley? Board Member Cooper?
Here.
Board Member McCarty Grant? And Board Member Harvey?
Here.
Okay. Thank you. All right, could we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. All right, we have our advisory board oath. Thank you.
I got one right here. I got a copy of it. For the record, Lee Baggett, City Attorney, and I'll be administering your oaths this afternoon. So if you raise your right hand and repeat after me. And I assume you got a copy in front of you. Okay,
Yes.
all right. I state your name.
Faye James,
Philip Harvey.
Am qualified under the Constitution,
I'm
qualified under the Constitution,
laws of Florida, and the Code of Ordinances for the City of Stuart, Florida,
laws of Florida and the Code of Ordinance for the City of
City of
Stuart,
Stuart.
Florida.
to serve as a member of the East Stuart Historical Advisory Committee,
to serve as a member of the East Stewart Historical Advisory Committee,
and that I will well and faithfully perform
and
And
that I will well and faithfully perform
perform
the duties of an advisory board member
the duties of an advisory board member
on which I am about to enter, so help me God.
in which I'm about to enter, so help me God.
God.
Thank you.
If you could sign those, and then I'll pick them up once they're signed.
So do you want that right now?
I'll
So-
pick them up on the way.
Okay,
You
all
can
right,
pick one.
on the way out, okay. All right, we're gonna move right on to the annual board reorganization, selection of chair and vice chair, number 2.
So we would just need a motion
I
to,
know, I motion to renominate Faye James as the chairperson.
I second that.
Okay, so we've had a motion to keep Faye James as the chair for the East Stewart Historical Advisory Committee. Do we need to make a motion and approve on that?
you can do it all in favor for this motion, then we'll do the vice chair.
All right, all in favor for this motion? Yes?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Any opposes? Okay. We have the ayes, so Faye James will remain the chairperson for the East Stewart Historical Advisory Committee. Okay, thank you all. Now we'll have the selection of the vice chair for the East Stewart Historical Advisory Committee.
No, don't do it. I make a motion that Miss Charlene, who is the vice chair right now?
Charlene Thompson.
I second.
Okay, so we have the motion for the vice chair to remain Ms. Charlene Thompson for the East Stewart Historical Advisory Committee. Okay,
All in favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposes? No opposes. Okay, it stands that we will have Ms. Faye James as the chairperson and Ms. Charlene Thompson as our vice chair for the East Stewart Historical Advisory Committee, 2024. Thank you. Okay, approval of agenda. The approval of the agenda,
Make a motion to approve the agenda as stated.
okay, make a motion to approve the agenda as stated. Thank you. And that would be the number 3, approval.
Approval of the agenda is just a section. I would need a second to that motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so It's been
Somebody
I
motioned.
second.
Second, okay. Any opposes? No opposes? Vote?
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposes? No, no opposes. So it stands as is. Okay, so number 4, approval of the minutes for October 3rd, 2023.
Madam Chair, you have to approve the 7-Eleven minutes first, please.
Oh, 7-Eleven, I'm sorry, okay. Number 3, okay. Approval of July 11th, 2023, East Stewart Historical Advisory Committee minutes.
I make a motion to approve item 3 of the minutes of 7/11/2023.
I second the motion.
Okay, so it's been motioned. And how do we vote?
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any noes, nays? All right, so it's been approved, all in favor to approval of the July 11th, 2023 East Stewart Historical Advisory Committee minutes. Okay. Number 4, approval of the minutes for October 3rd, 2023. Oh, okay. No motion needed, thank you, it was informational only. All right, thank you. All right, comments from the public. Any comments from the public, non-agenda related? 3 minutes max.
I see none.
Okay. Comments by the board members, non-agenda items. Any board members?
Mr. Harvey?
Any comments, non-agenda items? Okay, there are no non-agenda items from the board. Okay. Action item number 5. Historic mural project at 432 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in the East Stewart neighborhood.
I'll present the item. Panal Gandhi Savda, CRA Director for the record. We have a request to paint a mural on the exterior wall of a building along MLK. This property is located just across the city-owned garage complex. The property address is 432 Southeast Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. As you may be aware, the building was recently repainted and the property was improved for peer mentoring services. The property is owned by the McCarty family. Mr. McCarty called me and he was interested in doing a mural on the exterior of his building, and he was interested in the mural matching grant program. At that time, I reached out to the artist that I was familiar with, Mr. Ben Perez, to see if he was interested in doing a mural at this property. The building is perfect. It has a blank wall along MLK, so it's a great canvas to transition this wall into something more interesting and to celebrate the history of East Stewart. And Mr. Perez is here with us today. He's a local artist. He attended the Martin County High School, and he was also involved in the mural on the prescription shop building on Colorado. Staff shared a lot of the history that was gathered about East Stewart when we did the master plan to celebrate the history of East Stewart. He also did additional research, visited the feed store, met with Mr. Harvey and Mr. McCarty to learn about the history of East Stewart so he could depict that in the mural. And here is a rendering of a mural. We're really excited about what he's proposing. Mr. McCarty has reviewed this proposal, and he's also very excited. I'll let Mr. Perez explain the artwork, and that's depicting the local scene, people, and the historic activities in this collage. Ms. Perez, would you like to explain? I did provide a summary of the artwork, so you can follow along. Sure.
Okay. It says, please submit comment cards. I just wrote the information on here. Is it okay if I just read that off?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I wanted to, let's see. The East Stewart mural is a project dedicated to showing significant aspects of the community. The different images portrayed in this mural are James Hall, the first black officer from East Stewart, members of the McCarty family, Gene McCarty, who served in the United States Navy, and Douglas McCarty, one of the key founders of the Stewart Hornets, Zora Neale Hurston, an American author and filmmaker who visited the East Stewart area, Justin Simmons, a professional football player whose family lived in East Stewart, the Stewart Training School, which was a high school for Black Americans in Martin County during segregation, a saxophone player to symbolize the jazz era, which persisted through the 1900s, a scene from prom with a couple dancing to live music, since dancing, school, and community were all tied together, and some hibiscus flowers that have a presence inspired by the Beanie Bacchus painting located at the Stewart Heritage Museum. The image is then completed with a Who Got Game nonprofit organization theme, We Mentor to Save Lives. And finally, although the Stewart Training School existed during segregation, the artist uses the current Martin County High School colors of blue and gold to show a unification of different times and people.
Thank you.
So this artwork was reviewed by our Arts Council. They typically review art proposals because we have an agreement with them, and they're the professionals. They provided a letter supporting the artist and recommended approval of this mural. And today we're looking for feedback on the proposed mural. And I'll go back to the mural and look for feedback from you. We do plan to do a QR code in the future, so that way when somebody looks at this mural, they can read about the history of the people that are depicted in this mural. So I'll open it up to the board for comments.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I think that it captures the essence of the community through the generations. I think it depicts some of the, whereas the community is definitely a lot richer, but we only have so much space, right? But I think it definitely, from my opinion, captures the essence and the location. I'm familiar with the building that is going on. I guess the question, whether or not we could, I would love to have at the base of it, the building to add an illumination feature to as you, at night, it can illuminate. It's a pretty. They've got electricity there now. Put some uplighting, and that'll really, as people passing along Martin Luther King, they'll be able to see this at night as they're passing through, coming down Martin Luther King.
That's something we could ask the property owner, because it will be on his building, because the building is right along the sidewalk, so there won't be any room in the city's right-of-way to illuminate any lights, but maybe something
Right,
from
yeah.
on the building itself.
Yeah, right on the ground, right
Right,
in front of the
yeah.
building. I know where it's at, and he can just put some uplighting that way.
Sure.
As people are passing at night, they can see. 'Cause I think it's a beautiful depiction.
And I
all I
think, based on all those meetings that we had, it was very important to the community that we showcase, the community, to celebrate the history of East Stewart, not just any other community. So I think this really signifies East Stewart.
My comment, anybody?
No, go ahead.
My
Mr.
comment,
Harvey.
we're missing, in our discussion, we're missing two little things I thought might be interesting. Satchel Paige, Negro Baseball League, Guy Davis, on the same building that he owned. Satchel Paige, who used to come and hang out here, and missing one of Mr. Leroy Washington. Also, Mr. Hall was there, but Mr. Leroy Washington also was there. But Satchel Paige and the significance of the Negro Baseball League.
Thank you, Mr. Harvey. Anything else you want to add?
Oh, more to come.
Okay. Well, you want now or later?
Not now, later, come on, later. But it
Any
looks
other-
good. You did a great job, man.
Any other board members' comments?
I agree with you about adding the significance of the Negro Baseball League, but why would we add Satchel Paige when we have players from East Stewart that played in the Negro Baseball League?
But he was just one of the significant ones that I know that hung out here that helped Guy and helped promote it, the league.
Okay.
Because like I said, that's why I said there's more to come. More memorials that are going to come around in the community that's going to possibly identify some of those other important people.
Okay.
Because we have an abundance of history here that's been hidden.
So is that something you want to see in the future murals? Because there's only limited space, so.
I
just try
understand.
to- Yeah, so,
But I was just throwing it back
Okay.
at him. He forgot the baseball part of it. But he did a great job.
Thank you, Board Member Mr. Harvey and Board Member, Vice Chair Ms. Thompson. I also would like to, I think it's marvelous, it's beautiful, and thank you to Mr. Mike Hardy for being willing to, utilize that space for the community. It is private property, I believe, and it's great that he wants to make sure that we are represented on Martin Luther King Boulevard. I think with that thought, wouldn't it be nice to have Dr. King's picture somewhere in the corner, since it's kind of on MLK? And I know that we're working on some historical parts of MLK to highlight Dr. Martin Luther King, so I know that's somewhere on the future agenda.
right.
But that was just a thought. However, as an agreement with Mr. Harvey and Vice Chair Ms. Thompson and Board Member Mr. Cooper, I think it's beautiful and it would really enhance our community. And thank you to the artists for, the beautiful artwork. I would like to see maybe in recommendations adding on other service members, even if, I know we mentioned Mr. Washington, Sergeant Washington, I believe, was his title with the Stuart Police Department, to add on or maybe have space provided on the mural. The building is pretty large, so that's going to take up a lot of space with the pictures, to be able to add on those other service members that maybe aren't pictured there, but maybe along the perimeter, somewhere on the mural, on the sides of the mural, maybe we could have names or something just kind of to recognize those that may not be visible in the picture of the mural, just to kind of give respect to those people as well, like we're not omitting them. But we know everybody won't fit on the mural, so we know that. But could we kind of look at how to make it look arty, or, with artwork and calligraphy with the writing of the names, maybe? We won't get everybody even with that list, but maybe possibly some updates. I don't know, this is Mr. Mike Hardy's building, so I know the city can't tell him what to do, but maybe we could recommend that maybe he would want to put into the budget, and that was, I guess that's because it's his property. How would he keep up the freshness of the pictures in the mural? Every 3 years, every 5 years, is there a cushion in there with the city grants that could help him be able to offset that cost to make sure that it's always looking beautiful and fresh?
Yeah, so I think they do end up priming the mural at the end of the project, and the property owner is required to maintain the mural for at least 5 years if he receives the grant. We haven't had any issues with other murals that have been completed over the last 3 to 5 years, and they still look fresh and brightened, so I think we should be okay. Should he need additional funding to enhance the mural in the future, we can revisit that.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to make sure that that's there. And I agree that the mural on the prescription shop, and that's been there for
Yeah.
a really long time,
Yes.
and it looks great.
Yeah, it's been there
Even
since
now.
2017, I believe.
Yeah,
2000.
so, and, you know, we just want to make sure that we have the same, you know, help from Mr. McCarty
Sure.
on his building, since it's on MLK. That was, my recommendations for just putting those things maybe out there when you're talking with Mr. McCarty and moving forward with the, mural project for MLK. Now, I see here where it says that the Martin County High School colors are similar to the Stuart Training School. Now, please help me with this if someone knows. I wasn't born then, so I'm not in knowledge of what those colors are.
If I'm not mistaken, the colors for Stuart Training School was blue and gold also.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
have one of their yearbooks,
Okay.
and I'll search it and see if there's any mention, but I think it was the same
Same
blue and
colors.
gold.
Okay, so we just want to make sure that we're keeping and being cohesive with the colors that's representing the the Stuart Training School, as well as Martin County High School. Okay.
And their logo was the tiger also,
Oh,
Lions.
the lion. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, the lion.
oh, okay.
As far as recognizing other pioneers from the community, obviously, we can't depict everybody in one mural. It's going to take time over the years. We'll be able to do more historical murals and artwork. You know, as I proposed, we could do a QR code, and that could be a start at this project. And that QR code could provide information about other pioneers, and, you know, we can recognize some other names when somebody scans the QR code. So even though their image might not be there, but at least we can recognize them,
Okay.
you know, to start with. And then eventually, when we have other murals and other artwork, then we'll transfer some of that information to other artwork.
Okay. My question is, on that thought, do you have the names and information for those that may be entered on the QR code that are not mentioned on or in picture on the murals? Do we need to get that information or gather that information?
Yeah, I think that would be the responsibility of the Historical Advisory Committee Board to come, you know, provide that information to staff.
Okay.
I have as much as we've gathered over the years, but it would require me to do research, but I think the purpose of this advisory committee is to work with staff and provide the information.
We have to feed it to her.
Okay, all right. I'm glad you mentioned that so that we would know that we, again, could gather information to bring to staff.
Sure, and that could be discussed during these board meetings,
Yeah.
that even if you have some write-up or something that you would like to include in this QR code, we can share that information with the other committee members to get their input.
Okay, and will the QR code be presented at the same time as the mural is being
Yeah, so what,
unveiled?
yeah, so what I can do is I can show you, if you scan on the QR code, where that the landing page is and what that landing page could look like.
Okay,
And we can share that with you and then add information as we go.
okay, all right. Board members, with that information, do we want to take a look maybe, when is this supposed to be completed, or?
I will defer to Mr. Perez. I believe we're going to take this to CRB because they are the approval board for public art projects. So that will happen in February, and the grant agreement has to go before the CRA board, which is end of February. So I believe he wants to begin work March, April. So we're hoping to start in March, April. It'll take you about 2 to 3 months to complete before summer. So
Okay.
that's the estimated timeline.
All right, board members,
Question.
Question.
When is your next meeting?
our next meeting, I think, is in April.
April.
Quarterly, quarterly, yeah.
Yeah, it's quarterly. We did have the dates for our next meeting somewhere in front of me.
April
So
2nd.
we can send a reminder to the board that we'll be meeting in April, and if you want to bring some information for discussion, that would be helpful. And by that time, we should provide the landing page and how it could look like, and we can share that with you.
Okay, at the April 2nd.
It's April 9th.
April,
I believe is it April's
it's
No, it's on the- it
April
says
2nd? Okay.
At that meeting, that we can probably get an update with information for the QR code. And should we bring any information or in between, should the board members or the vice chairman or myself, if we have something, bring it to you
Bring it to me so I can
Forthcoming.
make copies, I can have it uploaded on the
as
computer,
soon as
so
possible?
we are ready for the meeting.
Okay, board members, if we have any other ideas or questions or any comments or,
Well, I
Any
have
i- so, well, if we,
sorry,
go ahead.
go ahead.
If we have any ideas, we come to, we talk to Ms. Pennell,
Correct.
call Ms. Patel,
Ms.
and
Pennell.
she in turn will identify, let everybody else know what
Well,
ideas we have.
You can share the information with me, and I'll present it to the board at the April 2nd meeting. Because you can't communicate with
Right.
each
So
other
we
because
can't
of
talk-
sunshine law.
so we have
Outside of
to
the
take.
So all the communication has to come through the city.
But could we have a special meeting?
If you're ready to have a special meeting prior to that, we can schedule it.
That's what I want y'all to understand. You can have a special
Okay.
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah, no,
call
we
a
can.
special meeting.
I get that, yeah.
Okay, thank you, board member, Mr. Harvey.
All right.
We would like to recommend a special meeting before April 2nd to discuss and come together. So we'll be ready to give you some information before April 2nd of our regular meeting. So do we need to put that now on the calendar for a special meeting to be called for the board members and the chair?
Well, if you want to present the information to me first, and then once I have the information, I can talk to the city clerk and schedule a meeting. Because I don't want to schedule something, and if I don't have anything to present, I
Okay.
don't want something.
All right, so we'll do those necessary steps.
So send something, whatever information you would like to share with the board members, and if I think it's ready to be presented, I'll coordinate with the city clerk.
Okay. Mr. Harvey, does that take care of what we could possibly do before April 2nd?
No.
Okay. Would you like to please share with us?
Somebody might, I just think we need to have a little special meeting, communicate with her, share her one idea, but if we have more than one idea, we need to talk. Or say something.
Well, how do we go about, this is new for me, so I think what I'm hearing is that our board member, Mr. Harvey, feels that we should still be able to call a special meeting before we come to you. Is that what I'm understanding? I don't
That's
want to
my
try to
opinion, yeah.
explain it.
I guess
Mr. Board
I
Member
just want,
Cooper?
the special meeting do, I guess the question, so there was two different things, two different components of what we're doing. I think we've got the mural that we were looking at, and then we talked about whether or not the mural depicted holistically of what it was. Then we kind of said, it's kind of, and so Pinal said the track that this presented as is on track to be approved by the end of February, starting work in March. Are we saying we don't want to, we want to hold that up?
No.
Are we going to accept it?
No.
Right, so now,
No.
then I think she said about the QR code is a different kind of movement to get her data to feed into that. And so you're saying you want to have a meeting in between her, our regular meeting, to discuss information to give to her, that we will give it to her individually, to then go over that to build this QR code.
And future QR code.
Right, yeah, so I think, because I think, as we go forward, part of our responsibility is gonna be to kind of, as we convene this board, to kind of build everything we need to give, that's our responsibility, to kind of get it over, put as much time as possible That's my understanding. That's why I kind of served it. I didn't think we was going to be able to fix all it in one shot.
And every 3 months. It's not gonna work. We
Right.
need more than one.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I think that traditionally with most of these boards, it's mostly quarterly. Or they can sometime, these advisory boards are these, I don't, unless there's these types of boards, I know we have our CRB board is more frequent because of their responsibility. But maybe let's give some context to.
I think he's gonna help
again-
answer some of my questions.
Okay, yeah, again, Lee Baggett, for the record, city attorney. I was just anticipating that you're looking for some guidance. The bylaw says that the CRA director schedules regular scheduled meetings, and if we need them regardless, but they are supposed to be on a quarterly basis. But this is your board. If you want to schedule another meeting, in between that, you have to have a motion that would have to be considered by remaining board members, and a vote would have to be made on it. Otherwise, she does have the authority to schedule a special meeting before your next one, if you guys communicate such to her. But if you wanted something set in stone, it seems like Mr. Harvey wants something set in stone, then you would need to bring to the floor a motion, which would need to be seconded and brought for a vote. So,
Right, so, yeah, I'm in agreement. So, I think she was in agreement too, because Panal was saying, hey, if I'll call a special meeting, is get me the stuff that we're considering. I think we make a motion to, upon us giving Panal directive that once we give her the necessary information to call a special meeting, a motion needs to be put forward that we call a special meeting in between our regularly scheduled meeting to kind of go over what we've individually put forth her. So,
And also give staff to prepare this landing page that I just discussed with you. We do need time to put that together, so this is
I make the
January by
motion that we-
March.
Set aside a special meeting to resolve some issues that may come up. I hope I'm saying it right. In future meetings, advisory meeting.
Okay, so the motion has been presented by Board Member Mr. Hardy.
I second the motion.
Second.
All right, it's been second, and any, all in favor?
aye.
Aye. Any opposes? None, okay. So we'll be moving forward with that, motion.
The motion was for me to schedule the meeting. I'm sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, you would schedule the meeting.
Okay, I will inform the
but
board. You will provide the information, the data that I need to in order to schedule the meeting, correct? Okay.
Now, what information are we wanting to provide?
So this QR code is gonna kind of depict I guess the question is. we're
We
gonna
can just call it pioneers. and We
Pioneers.
can
Mhm.
start,
Add an additional
if you
pioneers.
have
get- They'll be able to,
certain name and then the biography or whatever of that person. So we can start adding names to that QR code.
Okay.
as a part of, I guess, in addition to.
And this is just a start. I mean,
Yeah,
we can,
All right, I have a collection of like maybe 500-600 obituaries for members from the entire Martin County area that I was going to drop off to Georgine Charnes for her to upload into the Martin Digital Program. But I'll go through those and pull out the ones for East Stewart. And we'll have, make copies and have those available before giving them to her. So we can start with some of those pioneers
correct.
in that collection.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair Thompson. Any more comments? Anything else open on this subject with the mural that we're discussing right now? Again, I think the mural's great, and I'm glad that we're going to have that new addition in our community. And again, I thank Mr. McCarty for even wanting to put that on his building. So we really do appreciate that and honor that. So we look forward to making it really even more informative for us in our community and those that are visiting.
So I guess, do we have to accept this or are we?
Okay, so do we need to make a motion to accept number 5, the historic mural project at 432 MLK Jr. Boulevard in East Stewart?
If you can make a motion to
Make a
approve
motion
the
to,
mural as is.
okay, to, a motion for the mural as is for the historic mural project on MLK, location 432, MLK Boulevard, East Stewart neighborhood. Motion to the board.
Make a motion to accept the item 5 historic mural project located at 432 Martin Luther King Boulevard.
Okay. All in favor?
I need a second
Aye.
to the motion.
Excuse me?
I need a second to the motion.
Oh, could we get a second to the
I
motion?
second the motion.
Thank you. So the motion's been made by Board Member Mr. Cooper and second by Vice Chair Mrs. Thompson. Can we vote on approval? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposes? No opposing. All right, so it stands as is for action item number 5. All right, staff update?
I have none, Pinal.
I don't have any update, but I know Miss Glenda Preston is here, and she recently completed a mural on the VA building, so we really thank her for that contribution to the East Stewart community. And that's the only update that I have. Oh, also, we are going to be closing on the property for the Willie Gary property this Friday, so the city will be closing on that property, and then we are planning to do the job training center on that site.
Great. That's great news for the updates. And thank you again, the artist for the mural. I don't remember your name. Miss Glenda. Thank you, Ms. Preston. Beautiful job. Every time I go past it, I just feel so good, seeing it as we're going down MLK. And I can't wait. And thank you to the artists for this mural that's going to add to the beautification of East Stewart. So thank you to both of you. Beautiful work. Thank you. All right, any other information? If not, we'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Okay, I motion to adjourn the meeting for the East Stewart Historical Advisory Committee.
Second.
Second by Board Member Mr. Cooper. Any, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposes? Okay, no opposing. Meeting is adjourned.